Remember those long, dark days of lockdowns while you were trapped at home, masked up and socially distanced? Well, it turns out that the New York City COVID czar was living it up. That's right. Dr. J. Varma, the man behind the Big Apple's draconian pandemic policies, has been caught on camera bragging about attending drug-fueled sex parties. But it gets worse. This is not just hypocrisy. It's a betrayal of public trust that will make your blood boil. Now, speaking of shocking revelations, have you heard about Chuck Norris lately? At 84, he's not just surviving, he is thriving. While Dr. Varma was partying, Chuck discovered a secret to turn back the clock. He's stronger, has more energy, and feels decades younger. And it's not just him. His wife is reaping the benefits too. What's their secret? Well, Chuck made a video explaining it all, and trust me, it's a game changer. Head to chuckdefense.com/next or click the link below to watch. You will not believe how simple it is to regain your youthful vigor. Don't miss out on this life-changing information. Now, let's get to some local New York City news.
Partings during COVID?
Yeah.
Do you think you'd have gotten a hard time if the New York City found out that you were having sex partings during COVID?
Yeah, it would have been a big deal. Yeah, it would have been real embarrassing.
Yeah.
In a scathing video released by conservative podcaster Steven Crowder, Dr. J. Varma, New York City's former COVID czar, boasts about throwing sex parties during the height of the pandemic. The clips posted to Crowder's YouTube channel seem to have been compiled from several different recordings where Varma is caught on camera speaking to a woman about hosting drug-fueled orgies with his wife and attending underground dance parties with more than 200 people.
It was fun. We all took Molly.
In a statement released to the New York Times, Varma said he was targeted by an operative for an extremist right-wing organization determined to malign public health officials and take down the public health system in America. He added, "I stand by my efforts to get New Yorkers vaccinated against COVID-19.
Do you think you'd have gotten
Oh, sure. I was targeted by an operative for an extremist right-wing organization. Yeah. That's always what it is. It's a vast right-wing conspiracy. Was it a conspiracy when you called all your friends, Dr. Varma, and went to that hotel quietly and had a drug-fueled sex orgy? Was it? Was that a conspiracy? Oh, no, you were just blowing off steam. Oh, man, God bless Steven Crowder for this. Here's more. This is from CBS News New York. So these are official news channels. I just want to make that clear for the YouTube minders who are going to review this video that we're providing context to this breaking news that affects every one of you.
He was the city's top doctor during the pandemic, helping to set guidelines for policies like wearing masks in big gatherings.
But now a city councilman is calling for an investigation into Dr. J. Varma after he admitted to ignoring the very rules that he was asking New Yorkers to follow. His admission follows the surfacing of a heavily edited video. Political reporter Marcia Kramer is here now with more. Marcia.
Well, Christine and Dick, it looks like a case of do as I say, not as I don't. Dr. J. Varma is admitting that at the height of the pandemic, he attended sex parties and a dance party, even as he told New Yorkers to stay away from others to stop the spread of COVID-19. Now, Councilman Robert Holden wants his actions investigated. He was the high priest of social distancing, even wearing a mask at City Hall press conferences as he ordered New Yorkers to stay away from others to limit the spread of COVID-19.
This virus mutates when it's inside humans. So we need to keep it out of humans. And again, so it circles back to the same thing. Really being very strict about all the precautions that we normally follow.
But while he wanted New Yorkers to be strict about social distancing, he is admitting tonight that he wasn't. The mea culpa coming after he was caught on hidden video posted by conservative podcaster Steven Crowder. A spokesman for Dr. Varma told CBS News New York that his client participated in a dance party underneath the Wall Street Bank in June 2021 with about 200 people. It was after he left full-time city service and was a consultant. The spokesman said there were also 2 sex parties while he held the city post. There were hotel parties he and his wife held with friends, one in August 2020, the other November 2020. In a statement, Dr. Varma insisted he was, quote, targeted by an operative or an extremist right-wing organization determined to malign public health officials. And those private conversations that were secretly recorded, spliced, diced, and taken out of context, I referred to events that transpired 4 years ago. I served in City Hall between April 2020 and May 2021. During that time, I participated in 2 private gatherings. I take responsibility for not using the best judgment at the time. In the video, Varma also bragged about helping to put in place mandatory vaccination rules that prevented Brooklyn Nets star Kyrie Irving from playing basketball after he refused to get the shot. I stand by my efforts to get New Yorkers vaccinated against COVID-19, Dr. Varma said, and I reject dangerous extremist efforts to undermine the public's confidence in the need for and effectiveness of vaccines.
The guy has no shame. It is disgusting.
Councilman Robert Holden is calling for state and federal prosecutors to get involved.
This is a very serious thing that's going on and that was going on. And that's why, what else did he do? What else did he say? What else should we have done?
Now, Councilman Holden also wants a full-scale city council investigation where Dr. Varma is called to testify.
Let's go. Let's go. Bring him before the tribunal. Here is Vicky Palladino talking about, so they held a press conference in front of City Hall. We got some of the clips from that. We are now finding that he has been terminated from his job at Sega Technologies. Now it's time to terminate his medical license. That's my opinion. Today, we stood in front of City Hall to call for consequences and accountability for an era of tyranny we must never return to.
Most of them were forced to vaccinate. And the majority of them, a lot of them, had medical consequences from having to vaccinate. People couldn't attend burials of their own parents. All while one sicko, yes, I said it, one sicko was partying at the same time he was mandating this on all New Yorkers.
Oh, he wasn't just partying. He was in close physical sexual contact with other individuals. While you could not even go to a funeral. This is a disgrace. An absolute disgrace. One of the members of Crowder's team was there. The hashtag now is Varmagate, if you want to look deeper.
News organization? Yeah. You know what? It doesn't matter what our politics are. We have Democrats behind me. We have Republicans behind me. And we have Jay Varma on tape. And guess what? Nobody asked him if he was a Republican or a Democrat or how he voted before. What we asked is, why were the policies put in place? What did you think about what you were doing? This man is not just a hypocrite. We're all hypocritical to some degree. This man never believed in the mandates to begin with, and yet you have to hear these stories because of what he did, knowing full well that he didn't believe it. You know how I know? He went to sex parties. He went to dance parties. He didn't fly with his family because of optics, not because it was actually dangerous.
Steven Crowder's team really blew this wide open, thank God. Here is this is his own words. If you don't believe me, here's his own words. And the video is on Steven Crowder's YouTube channel. You need to go check that out in full. Steven Crowder actually confronted the guy a couple of days ago. They published that video. And this guy Varma actually sat there while Steven questioned him. But let's take a look at his own words. This story did break 5 days ago, but it needs to be front and center in every American's mind because this was New York City. What about other cities? What about Chicago? What about San Francisco, Los Angeles, Miami? What other cities were similar types of things happening? And what else was this guy doing? See, this is all we know that was caught on tape, that he was bragging about to a date that he was on. about, his deviancy and his promiscuity.
I actually was the one who convinced the mayor to make it a mandate.
Like, New York City found out that you were having sex parties during COVID?
Yeah, it would have been a big deal. Yeah, it would have been real embarrassing. We went to some, underground, dance party, underneath a bank in Wall Street. And we were all rolling, we were all taking Molly, and everybody's high. And I was so happy, because I hadn't done that in, a year and a half, a year or whatever. And but I was looking around being like, I wonder if anybody sees me, they're going to do it. Because this was not COVID friendly. The only way I could do this job for the city was if I had some way to blow off steam every now and then. You're kind of sneaky about it because hotels didn't want people gathering there. Because I was running the entire COVID response for the city. My wife and I had one with our friends, in August of that first summer. So we rented a hotel. It was fun. We all took Molly, and it was 8 or 9 of us, and then 8 to 10 of us in a room, and everybody had a blast because everybody was so pent up because it had been everybody was just stuck together and stuff like that. And sometimes it's not so much about imagery, it's sometimes it's just something about bodies being close to each other, right? Just being naked with friends.
Was that when everything was locked down?
But it was the summer of 2020. So walk around the streets and eat outdoors.
Did you have any mandates in place?
There wasn't any restrictions on gathering. You could technically gather people. The hotels didn't want it as parties, but they weren't gonna
It's so funny. It's because I did all this deviant sexual stuff while I was on TV and all this stuff. And people aren't you afraid? Aren't you embarrassed? And I was no, actually, I'm really I love being my authentic self.
So the way we do it in public health is we make it very uncomfortable to be unvaccinated. I don't expect the education to change your behavior. I'm just gonna make it really hard for you to do your job. You can't get a job. You can't go to a restaurant. You can't go to school. It's okay, I'm just gonna get vaccinated.
So was it technically kind of forcing you?
Yeah, that's what you force people by making it really uncomfortable.
That was awesome. Unbelievable work by Stephen Crowder.
I think.
Yes, and we're learning, he has been fired from his job for having pandemic sex parties. Now, people are bringing up, what Nancy Pelosi did. She went to a hairdresser. Newsom went to French Laundry. Newsom went to French Laundry and had a big, glorious banquet while the people of California were locked down. Pelosi goes to a hairdresser. Mayor of Chicago doing the same thing, had to get her hair done so she could look good when she goes for those COVID press conferences. Meanwhile, all of us were locked down, social distancing, forced into mandates. People lost their jobs. Businesses were shut down. And the very people that were tasked with keeping us safe were too busy enjoying their own lives. But this guy took it to a whole new level. And I even made a nice little meme. Here he is. Lockdown orders for you. Wild drug-fueled sex parties for me. That's where we're at, folks. So, ladies and gentlemen, the New York City COVID scandal isn't just about one man's hypocrisy. It's about the erosion of trust in our institutions. While we were told to sacrifice for the greater good, those in power were living by a different set of rules. Now, the question is, how deep does this deception go? Are there more Dr. Varmas out there preaching restrictions while flouting them in private? America, it's time to wake up. What other lies have we been fed? Sound off below. Okay, let's get your reactions. Dude Bro says, I survived the toilet paper shortage of 2020.